Once a giant, always a giant. For me, it's only a giant.
What's going on YouTube, D546? Definitely hit that subscribe button if you're new. Like the video if you like the video. And I won't tell if you click that bell. But let's go ahead and get into this. Alright, so it looks like what I just did not want to happen. One of my favorite Giants right now on the team, James Bradberry, will probably be released before the end of this week. There's still hope that he doesn't get released, but it's looking very likely that he will be released. First off, Dave Gettleman did a ton of crazy things here, but I think the signing of Blake Martinez and the signing of James Bradberry were two huge signings, two signings that paid off, and we could have gotten out of both of them if we wanted, but we were kind of forced to get out of the James Bradberry contract because he's still a good corner. I think he's a top 15 level corner at the very worst, and we let him go. We had to let him go. We haven't done it officially, but it seems like that's all but official. All right, so when you look at his stats here as a New York Giant, he got here and immediately, got to work, immediately showed why he was paid what he was paid, and kind of was a steal for what we paid compared to, how well he was playing that 2020 year. He got here and had 18 pass deflections, 2 forced fumbles, 3 interceptions, and no sacks or tackles for loss, I don't see. But either way, he won the award for, not won the award, but he had the most pass breakups, the most pass deflections, went to the Pro Bowl, looked like a top 3 corner at worst in 2020. And I just really liked the way he played that year. He played a lot of zone coverage, a lot of kind of sitting back and reading and react. And then Pat Graham kind of wanted to install that man coverage system. And in 2021, he definitely didn't have a poor season, but he definitely didn't have the same kind of season that he had before. And I think that's why he's become expendable. I think that's why we weren't able to trade him, is because it seemed like he took that step back. Once we switched to a more man-heavy scheme, we still played our zone. Definitely still played a lot of zone. But once we switched to more man, his skill set wasn't as good for that. Still had 4 interceptions, still had 17 pass deflections. So one more interception in 2020 and one less pass deflection from 2020. But still, you could see wasn't the same player, allowed a lot more catches, gave up a couple of touchdowns, and it wasn't the same player that we had seen before. So that's what happens. I guess he's nearing 28, 29. He's getting up there. I wish him nothing but the best. We were able to kind of find some teams to trade him to, but we weren't able to figure out the contract. We weren't able to get him to accept less money or accept however much money those other teams wanted him to accept to get traded. So we weren't able to make that trade. I'm still holding out hope that we're able to make some kind of a trade, but it doesn't look like we'll be able to. And I just wish him the best of luck. He's been nothing but a professional as a Giant. He's been a guy who's been a vet in that locker room for the DBs. I feel like he's made those guys better. Just a real leader in the locker room, a good presence in the locker room from what I've seen. Obviously, I'm not in the locker room, but I'm just happy that he came here and pretty much fulfilled his contract. He signed a 3-year deal. It was big money. And I would say 2 out of the 3 years, he sort of lived up to that deal. The 3rd year, the cap, the rookies need to be signed. A lot of things need to get done. And he just wasn't in the plans for this upcoming season. And you hate to see him go. You can tell Joe Shane did not want to have to cut him because he's such a good player and he's definitely a top half of the league starter on one side of the field. But it had to be done. So after checking out his stats and everything he did for the Giants, I kind of wanted to look at what we have on the roster now. Right now we have Adoree Jackson still. We have Aaron Robinson on the team. We have Cordell Flott that we just drafted. We got, I'm forgetting his name, Rodarius Williams. We have a couple of other guys that we probably feel good about that will give a chance. And I'm thinking we're going to have to add another veteran, another 1-year deal, kind of low-cost veteran, because James Bradberry is going to clear up $10 million for us. So I'm thinking that we're going to have to add one vet and kind of just let that vet duke it out with Aaron Robinson and Cordell Flott for that outside And then whoever doesn't win that is probably going to be your inside corner. I like Aaron Robinson and Cordell Flott more than Darnay Holmes, but Darnay Holmes has also done a decent job in the slot. Was really good his rookie year, but fell off. Also, we have Julian Love. So we have some depth. You kind of think that Julian Love will be one of your safeties, though. But we have depth of guys that can play corner. It seems like we have a bunch of slot depth and not as much outside depth. So we're going to have to sign some sort of a veteran free agent to a vet minimum deal. We're definitely going to have to do that because I don't know how we're going to be able to field a competitive team. But looking at who's going to step up, right now I'm predicting that Aaron Robinson is probably going to be the guy that steps up since he's the vet. He's not a vet, but he's a second-year player. He's the guy that really is competitive. He's got the height. What is he, like 6'2"? I think he's 6'2", really physical corner for the outside, mixes it up. He's got more size as far as weight than Cordell Flott does. So I think they'll probably start him off on the outside. You'll see Cordell Flott on the inside. You'll see Darnay Holmes on the other slot when you go 4 wide. And that's pretty much how I'm thinking it's going to go. You also probably want to, kind of bring McKinney down there sometimes, bring Julian Love down there. Sometimes you probably want to mix in your linebackers. Micah McFadden, the guy we took in the 5th, is probably going to be a solid coverage linebacker in his first year. All about learning, NFL offenses, but I think physically he can do it. So we're going to have to look at a lot of different plays, a lot of different places, and it's going to be interesting to see who can step up to replace that production because we don't have another corner of that caliber currently proven on the roster. And this kind of makes you kind of annoyed with this draft because, of course, I love the draft. I love the draft. I love the first round. And I think we got some players later on in the draft that'll help. I think Flott was a good pick. I think Azudu even might have been a good pick. When you look at that and you didn't try to get a corner that was a proven outside corner, Flott has played outside and he's played in the slot, but a proven day in, day out outside kind of corner, it just makes you just think that, what's going on? Why didn't we go ahead and sign an outside corner? I mean, there's still time, obviously, but why didn't we go ahead and draft an outside corner to try to develop out there? I understand we've taken, third round corners the last 3 years, but why didn't we just go ahead and draft one of those outside corners instead of taking Flott? And I love Flott, but I really would have liked to see an outside guy because now you're bringing in a vet, you're bringing in Aaron Robinson to see if they can compete for that job. It kind of gets hazy. And I know that this is not a 1 year and done kind of process. We're probably going to be taking a corner in the first round next year if Aaron Robinson or Cordell Flott don't step up and be that outside guy. But it would have been nice to address that position to say you can, at least I address the position. But we'll see how it goes. I'm sure that, Joe Shane and Brian Dable and Wink Martindale have a plan. Jimmy Smith is a name that I've heard that we might go out and try to target. There's a couple other vets that are probably out there. Again, you'll probably give Flott and Aaron Robinson a chance. And if the team is this young and you're expecting a lot from the offense and you just bolstered up that defensive line and you got McKinney back there and you got Love, who's a solid guy, and you got Adoree Jackson, it kind of makes you think, maybe some of these guys on the other side of the field at cornerback can step up. We did have a really good season on defense with a guy like Isaac Yadam in there. So Wink Martindale, if he wants to play that press, bump and run coverage where you're on an island, both his corners are on an island, and he's just sending these blitzes, dialing these blitzes up, he's going to need to find an answer for who's going to be covering across from Adoree Jackson because I don't have any problems with Adoree Jackson playing like that. In fact, he excelled in that, and he slowly became a better corner than James Bradberry last year. But if we do not have a plan for who's going to be across from him, and we try to send those blitzes all day long like Wink Martindale loves to do, and expect those two corners to hold up, and including Aaron Robinson and Flott, those two young corners on the other side, it's going to be difficult to kind of project. It's definitely going to be difficult. So that's what makes me think we might have had Sauce Gardner as a guy who was high because it seems like they pretty much knew that they weren't going to be able to get rid of James Bradberry and get any compensation. I really wish that we would have been able to, especially because to me, he's a top 15 level corner. And why wouldn't you be able to capitalize on that? It's just annoying. I understand the situation. I understand that we probably couldn't. I understand that we got some deals done and Bradberry didn't agree to the contract, which is well within his right. I'm not going to be mad at him. But I really wish we would have gotten some value. I really wish we would have gotten another third round pick and been able to go ahead and take that third round pick and take another corner. And it just didn't happen. So you guys let me know what you're thinking of this James Bradberry situation. I think he was a good player for us. I appreciate him for being here and really balling out for most of the time he was here and being a professional and being a leader. And I wish him the best. He'll probably go to the Raiders. Please, anywhere. Go anywhere but the NFC East. Do not go to Washington. Do not go to Philly. I'll see y'all next time. If you made it this deep into the video, come on, just hit the subscribe button. I make Giants content primarily, draft content secondarily, and during the season, I'm going to be doing a lot of reacting to pretty much most of the NFL games and everything NFL. So if you made it this deep, go ahead and join the D6 squad.